Hi guys, welcome to my channel or welcome back. I'm in cozy mode. I'm wearing a Harry Potter t-shirt right now. This is like my fall uniform. Made myself a little chai. Hold on, I forgot the cinnamon. What am I doing? It's October now. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Brielle. I'm a 23-year-old living in Los Angeles. I make all sorts of post-grad lifestyle content, productivity, self-improvement, all of that fun stuff. So if you're into any of that, please make sure you subscribe and join our little community over here. Basically in this series, I sit down in very cozy clothes with like a very comfy type of vibe, sleepover energy, and I just kind of talk about some stuff that's been on my mind, some things that I've been thinking about, basically just in like kind of a heart-to-heart sleepover type format. I also do accept requests and questions for this series, so if you have anything you want me to talk about, feel free to leave it in the comments. What I really want to dive into today has a lot to do with confidence. I really want to talk about kind of this new approach that I've been taking to my decisions, to my life, which is viewing myself as a high value person. Let's get into that. This one's gonna be interesting. I really just want to talk this through with you guys, and maybe it can help some of you as well with having good habits, making good decisions, and also just treating yourself with self-respect. That's what a lot of this boils down to. So let's get to it. Okay, so viewing yourself as a high value person, what does that mean and how is it helping me? So let's talk first about what it means. Maybe something comes to mind when you hear the term high value person. I know I had seen videos years ago about like how to become a high value woman in the sense of dating, but I'm not really talking about dating here. It does apply to dating, and we'll get into how this concept applies to like literally every aspect of life, but that's not like really where I'm coming from here. When I talk about like being a high value person, treating myself as a high value person, I'm really picturing someone who has self-respect, who is important both in their own eyes and other people's eyes, and who really values their own time, energy, mental and physical health, and just basically respects themselves and sees themselves as important and worthy of, you know, taking care of, I guess. And I think I didn't realize until very recently that I was really lacking in self-respect. And I've talked about this before in past videos, how I feel like my kind of history as being an overachiever and being very school-driven made it difficult for me to value and prioritize other aspects of my life and to see them as worth valuing. So things like my appearance for a long time kind of sat on the back burner because I didn't see it as a valuable investment of my time. I didn't see myself as important or pretty enough to put time into my appearance, and so it was just not on my radar. And that's something that once I did start to prioritize a little bit more my appearance, it dramatically increases my confidence and makes me feel like I'm more in touch with my body and my physical form, which I think it's been really positive for me. Realizing that sort of my image of myself as this person who was always, you know, book smart and enjoyed very like quiet, chill hobbies like reading and watching movies on the weekends, didn't really have a social life, didn't really put time and care into her appearance, that vision of my identity has really stuck with me and has started dictating a lot of my actions, my priorities, my habits, etc. Even when consciously I don't want to just be that version of myself anymore. Consciously, like, I want to feel confident in my appearance. I want to put time and energy into working out and getting ready every day. I want to be socially confident. I want to be, you know, a person who lights up the room and who others gravitate towards, and all these things that don't really align with that old identity that I still have in my mind. And I don't think I realized until recently that I was still very much acting in accordance to those old principles. And when I would try to kind of act with this new identity that I want to have, there would be this sort of friction where it felt like I was almost working against myself because it felt like I was doing something uncharacteristic. It felt like going to the gym in the morning was very unlike me, and so it was really hard for me to stick with things like that. But what has really changed is the realization that if I'm able to shift that identity, if I'm able to start seeing myself as this cool, attractive, put together person that I do really want to be, it's gonna be a lot easier for me to act in accordance with how that person would act. And by doing those actions, I'm gonna then be able to change things about my life. So sort of the way I'm approaching it and the way that I think is really starting to click in my mind is changing my idea of my identity, which then changes my actions, which then changes my external reality and my life situation. So I'm gonna try to like make this a little bit more concrete with some examples, but basically I think that by kind of acting as if I'm somebody who has a lot of self-respect, who's important, who's successful, makes a lot of money, etc., etc. Someone who kind of fits all the boxes of the person who ideally I would like to be. I'm gonna then be able to get closer to that. And this is not a revolutionary concept, right? I've heard so many people kind of talk about this, but it's really started to piece together in my mind from different sources. So a huge manifestation technique that a lot of people swear by is acting as if, which is basically the same thing. Basically acting as if you already are the dream version of yourself. So if you really want to be a millionaire, acting like you are a millionaire as much as possible in your current life. Or if you really want to be a super fit girl, acting as if you are that girl and getting your green juice and going to the gym, even if you don't have the look of that fitness girl yet. Another kind of way that I've been hearing about this same concept is a lot of creators actually talking about the importance of being delusional and how being delusional helped them in their journey. So basically what they mean by this is they needed to have the audacity to think that they could make their dreams a reality, that they could make it as a full-time creator, for example, even when there was no evidence or nothing in their reality to point to the fact that that was possible. They basically needed to be delusional enough to believe in themselves and believe in that possibility when there was no evidence that it was possible, when it seemed like all signs were pointing to it not being possible. I think what this has really made me realize is that I need to start taking myself more seriously before anyone else is going to take me more seriously. And that means treating the things in my life that I'm working on as bigger than they actually are, and genuinely believing that like I have something in the works. Like I have some secret sauce that's cooking in the back kitchen that no one knows about, and it's gonna shock everyone. It kind of reminds me of like when SoundCloud rappers, like really underground rappers with like no following, post on their story as if they're the hottest shit, being like, big stuff coming soon. And I'm not saying that I'm about to start posting big stuff coming soon on my story, but I do think that there's something valid in that, in the sense of like, everyone's gonna think you're crazy until it happens. And you hear that from every like come up story ever. It's just like they needed to believe that it was possible before anyone else in their life did, before it even looked like it actually was possible. And I think I've just started realizing that I want to adopt that same sort of unreasonable dedication to the things that are my goals. Like I want to treat my YouTube channel like it's a business before I've made a penny from it, type of thing. And I want to treat my singing lessons as if I'm like some signed pop star and not some random girl sitting in her room who no one can hear and there's not really anything at stake. Like I just think that by treating myself as somebody who's more important or successful, it'll make it a lot more engaging for me to work towards these goals. It'll feel a lot less pointless. And I think it'll just make me feel like the things I'm doing are important and are valuable, because it is easy sometimes to feel like everything's kind of pointless, or like I'm not making any impact, no one cares, I don't have an audience, I don't have this, and this metric of success. But I think by having sort of the delusional quality of seeing myself as somebody who is super important and whose day-to-day actions matter and who people do care about and want to watch and etc., that I'm actually going to make it a lot easier for me to potentially manifest that. And I'm going to greatly improve my self-respect and confidence, which will also help me get closer to my goals and just make me feel better on a day-to-day basis, which is ultimately the goal, is like to feel a little bit better on the day-to-day, right? So I think this really can apply to any aspect of your life. So in terms of my personal life, for example, I think carrying myself as somebody who is like the life of the party, or who is really fun to be around, like carrying myself with that important, confident, lighthearted energy, that's how I imagine somebody who is high value, views themselves as high value, walks into a room, and that's what I want to embody. By kind of inflating my own importance in my head and being like, wow, everyone here is so lucky to be having this conversation with me. It sounds kind of silly and egotistical, but really what it is compensating for the fact that I have like no confidence, with the other extreme of being like, oh, I showed up today and I'm important and I'm gracing them with my freaking presence and I'm the light of this room. Like it sounds dramatic and sounds a little crazy, but I think that's kind of what is going to help me break out of feeling like I am this insecure, unimportant person and kind of step into this, I have a trick up my sleeve. Nobody knows it yet, but I'm so important. I'm so cool. Kind of this sense that I have this secret that I'm actually awesome. I think that's just going to do wonders for me. And it's a way to kind of apply this philosophy to your personal life of like, what would a high value person do when they walked in this room? How would they react to maybe this uncomfortable comment or insult that this other person gave them? They would probably brush it off, right? Or completely ignore it, or just move on to somebody else. So that's what I'm gonna make. That's the decision I'm gonna make. And if you have specific people in mind who you see as high value or, you know, self-respecting, important, successful, whatever it is, you can substitute their name into that equation. So how would insert name here react to this situation? Or how would they spend this time? This has also really helped me in terms of setting boundaries in my own life with my routines. Like, for example, not sacrificing a workout unless absolutely necessary, because I know a high value person, a person who really respects themselves, wouldn't throw out a workout just to get some extra computer work done. It's really helped me to kind of see these good habits, whether it is a workout or maybe reading in the evening to kind of learn something and enrich my brain, widen my perspective, like something like that. Like if I'm in a state of mind where I don't see myself as super valuable or super important, those things don't seem like they're worth doing and they don't seem like priorities. But if I'm in a frame of mind where I'm like, everything that I do is important, I have lots to contribute to this world, there are people depending on me, I am this successful version of myself who needs to be at top performance and needs to bring their best self to the table because of all this important stuff I'm doing, you know, up in my head. If I start seeing myself as that, like successful, creative entrepreneur, suddenly reading at night to help recharge my brain and get my creativity flowing feels a lot more worthwhile, and it's something that I actually would prioritize. And another huge one is getting enough sleep. Would a high value person sacrifice their sleep? Absolutely not. Would a successful, rich, like entrepreneur sacrifice their sleep? No. So I'm not going to either. And obviously I'm not saying that every successful or self-respecting person has the most incredible habits or makes the best decisions 24/7. Obviously none of us are perfect, we're all human, etc. But if you kind of start seeing yourself from the lens of somebody who is successful, important, self-respecting, it kind of adds a weight to those decisions and choices that may not have been there before. One time in my life that I can really look back on where I feel like I was doing this well, my spring semester of my senior year of college, I was in absolutely great shape. I was prioritizing going to the gym over almost everything else, including like schoolwork. I still got all my assignments and stuff in on time, don't get me wrong, but the gym was like at the top of my priorities. I was getting ready every day. I always had my hair done. I always had my makeup done. I looked cute. I had my nails done. I was putting top-notch effort into my appearance, my apartment being clean, being put together, almost to an unreasonable level for the fact that I was a senior college student. Like I had no business feeling like I needed to get my nails done every 2 weeks and treating the gym like it was my job. But the fact that I did all of that kind of gave me this increased confidence, a little extra bit of courage and confidence in my personal life. It made me a lot more relaxed and confident about the work I was doing. It just had like an amazing ripple effect in other aspects of my life because I was treating myself as this important person. And even though right now I can't financially justify getting my nails every 2 weeks just for that put together like cool girl feeling, when I am financially capable, I know that little things like that, like getting my nails and hair done, they might seem silly, but they are a huge part of acting as if I am this put together, cool, important girl who stays on top of all of her routines and goes to her appointments and, you know, works out every day because that's who she is. She is that put together, cool girl, that high value girl that kind of just has her shiz together, is super confident, respects herself, and shows up as the best version of herself every day because she values herself, she respects herself, etc. And again, a lot of this boils down to the whole acting as if thing and treating yourself as if you have the success you want before you actually do. Before the numbers are rolling into my bank account, like I want to be treating things that I'm doing as if they are important and as if they matter and as if I do have an audience. Like for example, I might be posting on Instagram and only have 1,500 followers, but if I'm posting like my photography work, I'm gonna act as if that is super serious. I need to get those photos up on this day and whatever. And it might seem silly to like prepare an Instagram post as if I have a bigger following than I actually do, or create a YouTube schedule that might seem way more serious serious than it needs to be for the level of content creator that I am right now, these things might seem silly and a little bit of like over exaggerations, but they're actually helping me to take myself more seriously, take these things more seriously, and that ultimately is going to help me get the results I want. So that is the approach that I have been trying to apply to my entire existence. The next thing that I really wanted to talk about in this video is why I'm tired of multitasking, why I'm over it, why I am sick of it, and I think it actually sucks. Let me explain what I mean by this, okay? I have noticed the weirdest thing recently, which is that by the end of my day, even if I maybe have accomplished a decent amount of things, if I spent my day very distracted, very moving back and forth between different things, you know, I was working my 9 to 5, but in every spare moment I got, I was trying to clean up the apartment, and, you know, I was running errands, and I was doing all these little pitter-patter things in every free moment that I had, I ended the day feeling like I wasted the day. Like the day didn't even happen because my attention was so all over the place and so distracted that I didn't really get any deep work in, and I just kind of feel like my day had no substance. And there's a huge correlation between this and my phone addiction. I need to like cut back a lot on watching other YouTubers. I love watching YouTube. It is my favorite way to consume social media. Like I am a huge fan of so many amazing creators on this platform, and I don't want to stop watching it altogether, but this bad habit that I have of putting on a YouTube video in every tiny little increment of time that exists in my day, feeling like I need to have a YouTube video on when I make breakfast or when I put on my makeup, that I think is what's leading to this feeling of sort of brain fog and feeling like I'm jumping from one thing to one thing to one thing. It leaves me with a ton of anxiety, like feeling like I can't get on top of everything. It makes me feel like I have way more to do than I actually do because it's just creating this like overwhelm of overstimulation, and there's just so many negative side effects of jumping from thing to thing to thing. And it doesn't just need to be jumping from a productive task to a distraction like I just kind of illustrated with the YouTube videos thing, but it could even be jumping between productive tasks. So for example, like on a weekday, if I have the pressure of, oh, I need to work my 9 to 5, but also I need to get this video edited like later tonight, I think that my brain gets way too lost in the sauce. Like my brain can't figure out where to focus. It's thinking about all these things that I have to do. It's focused on different aspects of my life, or even if I'm doing laundry while I'm working my 9 to 5, it's like my brain is like, oh, when do I have to get that laundry? And then my focus is never fully on the task at hand. So kind of my point here is that I think what I need to do is create more strict boundaries with myself and my time, more deep work sessions and time in my day where I can really zero in on a single task and feel like I accomplished something, because nothing feels better to me than when I like go to a coffee shop and I just work on one thing the whole time and I get back after a few hours of work and I've accomplished a ton in like that small period of time. That feels amazing to me, and it feels like I actually did something. But if I'm constantly getting distracted and I'm completing my work in smaller little chunks and also doing a million other things, that doesn't feel as good to me. So instead of like trying to attend to 60 different areas of my life in a single day, I think what I really need is more intense restrictions of like, okay, once I sit down at my laptop to do this task, I'm not getting up for X amount of time, or I'm not getting up until it's done. I'm not getting up to clean any dishes. I'm not getting distracted by any other task. I need to focus on this one thing. And I think in my mind somewhere, it thinks that I'm more productive by being so bouncing around and being so busy and filling every little crevice with some productive task. But in actuality, like the amount of legit valuable work I'm getting done is so much smaller, and I'm feeling way more anxious and distracted and overwhelmed throughout the day. So maybe that is setting aside specific chunks where I work on YouTube instead of trying to cram it into random parts of my day. Maybe it's restricting YouTube solely to the weekends and making a rule that during the week I don't work on anything YouTube related. Like, I don't have the exact answer yet, but I do know that this sort of feeling of perpetual distraction, perpetual overwhelm, and just feeling like I'm never actually doing anything or accomplishing anything is incredibly frustrating, and I'm kind of tired of ending days that way. I think setting more strict boundaries with my phone is going to be essential. I can definitely still feel productive and in the zone when I have like chill lo-fi music on, but if I have a video on, my brain is not focused on the video and it's not focused on my work. It's in some middle zone in between that is just unproductive and not valuable. So I think I'm learning that that needs to be a hard restriction of not like listening to or watching videos while I need to be doing some other type type of work, whether that's, 9 to 5 work or my personal work. Yeah, I just kind of think that my brain has been feeling really distracted and really not present recently. And I feel like I'm kind of sleepwalking through a lot of my days, and it's incredibly unsatisfying and frustrating. So I'm really looking forward to kind of finding a solution for that and trying to figure out how I can balance all of the things that I do want to put time and effort into without feeling constantly overwhelmed. And I really do think the solution is chunking time, deep work, figuring out times where I can focus on individual tasks. And I think that will just kind of free up my brain and not make me feel so stressed and overwhelmed. I hope you guys enjoyed this little talk. Let me know if anything resonated with you in the comments. I really just wanted to talk a little bit about my current approach to life, some realizations that I've been having, some struggles, and also some progress. Always want to keep things on the more positive side around here, even if I am talking about things that are a little more difficult. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the cozy vibes that always come with the videos in this series. If you want to watch any of the past episodes, I will have them all linked in the description. I have some banana bread waiting for me in the kitchen, so I'm gonna go eat that. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I will see you next week with another one. Bye, guys.
Yeah, his baby said that they don't got a future like it burns. So give him something worse to kill his head with, make him forget somehow. Might be that another day she would have wished he stayed, but they're done.